Gentlemen, I believe we are live.
And that's the way the news goes.
Is that the news?
Uh,
The alternative.
Yeah, being alive is much better than the alternative. So, how's everybody doing?
Fairly mediocre.
Doing all right. Tired and sore.
Hmm, feel that.
Just kind of getting over the the dreaded gunk that
You
started running up. Started feeling bad, kind of feeling bad on Wednesday and Thursday, and then started progressively feeling slightly better every day. And now I'm pretty good. I can't complain too much. A little bit of coughing, a little bit of stuffiness.
kind of had the same thing going on with sinuses about a week or two ago, and then I got on the amoxicillin, which is awesome. It took care of stuff, but it's also a pain in the butt because amoxicillin tears up your gut.
Yeah,
Also, I made lentil soup this week, and that is also added to the gastric distress of this household.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of Not a fan of beans in general.
Well, I threw them into a vegetable soup, and they are very, very good. It's just lentils immediately turn into you're gonna fart for days.
That's a thing. I'm currently posting up a couple of pictures of a couple of the things that I've been working on. There we go. Now I can see a couple of the minis that I'm currently in the process of. I just finished putting all these together, and painting is probably going to start sometime next week.
What set are those?
That is the Choir of Minoff from War Machine. And this is the Avatar of Minoff. This thing is an absolute fucking house.
It
It is
literally
a walk. It is a walking battle church.
that is a large building.
That's a warjack.
What is this system, or where are these minis from again?
War machine. It is a. Give you one on the other side real quick. Uh, it's another. It's another miniature. Uh, war game. Typically, it typically stays closer to the skirmish level. Uh, so up to like a thousand points is typically a lot of times is the top end. So it's a smaller scale battle than the Warhammer stuff. I mean, obviously not as small as some of the formats of Warhammer, because Warhammer has the formats like Kill Team, which is literally squad battles. It's usually four to six minis duking it out. But War Machine is actually steampunk fantasy. Uh, the the their big thing was using the use of warjacks, which are those big steam and magic powered mechs. Uh, that you would run through. I've got a handful of them. The the ones that I've been painting, that I've been posting progress pictures of, like the 12 man group that I posted pictures of a couple of last week, was just basically foot soldiers and then these guys and a handful of others, about 8 other models, are all from a from the Protectorate of Menoth. It is a war religion that worships essentially a demon phoenix. So they are, and you'll get this. They are going to be my Iron Saints in my campaign, because I was able to get that battle box that had a lot of pieces, and I've been able to put together a decent sized collection of Minoff stuff, and it's all religious zealotry and symbolism and everything else. So they fit really, really well with the the Iron Saints and the bad guys from my campaign, from the wheel campaign. So these are the bad guys. So I now have a decent selection of assholes for my wheel people to fight.
Cool. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to stop stream for just a moment because OBS decided to start freaking out.
Yeah, I had that problem the other day. Go for it.
Now, do you remember which one you touched?
I do.
All right. Hey, Cannon, can I get an audio check from you? Because trying to make sure my internet's not being wonky.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Cannon's coming through clear.
I'm still here.
Okay, so Cannon's coming through clear. Nox, you kind of turning roboty every so often.
Come on, there we go.
Not entirely sure why it's still sitting. It says it's a red box on here.
Does that help with the roboty?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because normally, I'm not gonna lie, I'm usually around 6,000 kilobytes per second, and now I'm jumping between 4 and 2.
It's on.
Okay, we will operate with that.
Anywho, but yeah, that's what I've been doing past day. Didn't have a whole lot of time to do stuff this weekend because it was the girl's birthday party and my mom's birthday today. So we did her birthday party yesterday and went out to eat for my mom's birthday today. So I hadn't had a chance to do too much.
We pretty much got rained on all day yesterday.
It rained a bit during the middle of the day. You know, when it went from 75 degrees down to 30, down to 50, and then it's going to do the exact opposite starting tomorrow. The low is the low overnight tonight is supposed to be like 59. The high is supposed to be like 68, and then by Wednesday it's going to be the highs in the 80s and the low in the low is 68, and then it'll be 41 come like Thursday night.
So, regular Louisiana winter.
Regular Louisiana weather.
See, what was it? Mish posted earlier is, you're in the South and you got to put on your flip-flops so you can put the hose cover on so it don't freeze tonight.
Yeah. You go out in shorts and flip-flops to cover your pipes so they don't freeze tonight. Yep, that's it's frustrating, but I mean that's why that's why we're all getting sick.
Yeah, because we got bipolar weather that comes in and just slaps everybody.
Yeah, but the upside is we get it done. I'm glad that it happened this weekend, and my dad's been fighting it for since last weekend. He's starting to feel better now. But I'm glad we're getting it done now because next weekend is the last weekend that we can go hunting. So we're gonna go hunting next weekend, and then the following weekend is Christmas. So we get this bullshit out of the way before all the festivities.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out what's going on because next week for me is midterms. Like we're supposed to be done. We're supposed to test them Monday week as well, but I know my kids. I'm getting as many and all my classes done with midterms ASAP. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
we're gonna be done Friday, unless you messed up. But Vincent's in elementary school, so they don't have midterms. So I need to figure out what's going on the 20th through the 22nd because those are still school days, and I haven't. Here's the big problem I have. As a teacher, I have Remind, and my kids can contact me pretty much whenever. Like the only time I've had to, I'll turn it off or disconnect my phone from it at like when I go to bed. The school Vincent goes to, the principal has told all the teachers, do not allow parents to respond to you on Remind. And then his teacher has not responded to an email for a conference. And there's been a lack of communication because we still haven't been able to get a parent-teacher conference so far this semester.
Like that's yes, there's a lack of communication. It seems like it is an intentional lack of communication.
There's a good chance it is. I know how my district works, and I definitely know how the quote-unquote good schools operate. So we're going to be doing everything we can find out because there's a good, if Vincent doesn't have to be there those 2 days, those 2.5 days, might let him go up to my parents and have Christmas with them because Emily's family is going to come after Christmas and we want him here so he can visit with them. So,
Understandable.
also dealing with my parents' general
Chicanery.
chicanery and overbearingness of trying to steal my child whenever they can. Like he
Yeah.
is with them right now so that he can go get a doctor's checkup in Jackson tomorrow. It was just easier because then Emily doesn't have to take off, I don't have to take off, and my mom just can get him there and we'll get him back. That's perfectly fine. And I'm just trying to make sure that they, like, because they talked to me about that before just doing it. However, they're trying to do a whole lot of like inviting people over to my house without telling me they're inviting people over to my house because they're in town. Like, honestly, I don't mind, but you need to ask. Like, I would love to have people come over and see my house, but it's not your house. Don't just invite people over here.
Yeah.
This is not
Yeah,
this is not your space to entertain.
and and honestly, any claim that they had over the last house is now gone.
It is.
So solely due to their own actions. Well, not specifically them, but your family's actions.
Oh no, it's my mom. My uncle has expressed that he didn't feel like he was quite ready, but now he's already having to do this. And he's trying to figure out why he's doing it when he's not 100% ready. And then I looked at him and said, it's my mom. She has maneuvered everybody into this situation. But silver lining, I have a nice house. He now has that house. So everybody should be good.
You no longer have that house.
I still have to go and mow because I agreed with Scott to mow the yard for him. But that's because he's in Dallas.
Yeah, and once again, you two are sitting in the same boat of your mother's decision. It's family. What you gonna do?
Is what it is, man. Is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
But to change the subject of that, project-wise, my shed is currently full of Bosch Kyle's serving boards.
Nice.
Got them all sanded, and then he oiled them. And he's sitting there oiling, using mineral oil with just his hand. He's like, "This is so messy." I was like, "Dude, get a rag.
Yeah, dude.
Get a rag." And he's like, "This is way better." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." But because of that, I couldn't epoxy the outside of my bowls. So that's a later project. But I have routed out channels on the back of the big whiskey barrel lid I got
Yeah.
from Double Secret Santa that I know who it is. Not hard to figure out who's the Double Secret Santa we've had being sneaky the last couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've now got 2x4s put into the routed channels on the back of it, glued and screwed in, so that now the lid does not come apart.
Nice.
Because initially I was like, I could take it apart and make things out of each bit of it, but that's dumb. I have a whole whiskey barrel lid. I need to make a project from just the lid. So I've got it all together so it stays put. I'm trying to figure out if I want to make a wall-mounted sign or if I want to make something else out of it. I am torn because it is an awesome gift, and I want to do something good with it.
I'm just saying, depending on how up there your skills with the router are, I'm just saying that the Miro logo would look really, 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 really awesome on that whiskey lid, on that whiskey barrel lid.
That is true. I don't know if my router skills are there because I'm learning, and Cannon can probably attest to this. I've learned that there is a huge power difference between my Bosch battery-powered router, and which is a trim router, the new Ryobi trim router I got, and an actual plunge router.
Oh yeah.
And plunge router is on my list of tools now because that would make a lot of my jobs easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plunge routers is nice, but that high-powered motor on them, it's a whole different learning curve from those smaller ones.
Yeah. We have an old ratty one. Like the depth stop doesn't work. Like will only work for about 2 passes before you gotta completely undo it and reset it. Because it just the screw doesn't, the lever to hold the tension on it and the screw down just doesn't hold anymore. It's that old. So you literally you set it to depth, you tighten it up, you run a couple of lines on it, and then you have to redo it. But man, fighting that torque and getting used to keeping steady on that thing is it's a monkey to get used to.
That is what I'm looking at because that little Ryobi battery-powered palm router that I got, it just kept wanting to kick and twist on me.
Yep, I got the same problem on mine. I have found that the only way that I can do that is I either have to pre-drill. I either have to pre-drill a hole to start it, helps, and then light passes, and just let it cut. Like, don't try to force it. Let it cut what it wants to cut, and then for the meat of what you're trying to remove, and then if you have to go back over it, you go back over it lightly to finish it off.
I think I'm going to have to use this one just to do the edges of things. Because, I mean, what I did is I hogged out most of the material to make the slots with a Forstner bit. But I think part of the thing that was catching that little router that I had is that I was going cross grain because of the way that the slats were. And I think that's what was causing it to kick. But, oh, did you see the video I posted about turning one of those little Ryobis into a domino jig?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that. 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 I did No, I hadn't watched it. I saw it. I saw it. It's on my list it's on my list of stuff to watch. I just hadn't gotten around to it.
Yeah, if you watch that video, I thought that was really neat. I mean, I'm not a huge domino fan, but I also have not done a lot of glue ups of large flat areas.
Yeah.
Then again, Kenan, what's your opinion on dominoes?
Talking about the pieces that go in between joints.
Yeah.
I've always heard it called biscuit joining, and I've used them before. They work pretty good if you get the slots right.
I mean, I've done doweling, which is sort of similar, but I still got to do a lot of work on making sure when I drill in, I'm actually drilling straight.
Okay then.
What's that?
Loud car. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on Santa because I do believe that I'm getting I'm getting a couple of tools for Christmas, and you know, a couple of tools that are gonna make my life a little bit easier. And one of the smaller belt sanders and a uh one of the drill press jigs. One of the deals you mount a drill to when it turns it into a drill press. Uh, and I think that those two things are going to make my life a whole lot easier in a couple of different ways. It'll allow me to cut better square stock on that job site saw. I can cut it, do like you do, and like you said, cut it a 16th larger, and then sand it down to square. And I think that'll help me with a lot of my boxes and stuff like that. I also need to see about getting some more magnets because I made that dice box for Anna, and for the first time I was able to actually get the magnets in there and do them right, and that box came out phenomenal. I'm very proud of the way that box came out. So once I get that, and once I do that, I'm gonna start working on a few more projects, knock a few more dice boxes out, and then I'm gonna start looking at possibly moving on into some other stuff. Now that I have the tools for it, some decorative shells and things like that.
Cool.
Really kind of start branching out into some more decorative and functional projects, mainly like curio shells and stuff like that. For now, start with that and then move on from there.
Nice. I've got to, once I don't have Kyle's Christmas presents taking up all the space in my shed, I have a project I'm going to work on that is. Made the first prototype of it, but cedar being cedar occasionally splits.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was trying to do something, it gave out on me and popped a corner off. So what I'm trying to do is on one side of I've taken 2 3/4 inch blanks of cedar because that's what I cut up because originally I was going to try to make character sheets out of them just to see how it would go.
Yeah, I've had that idea as well. And looking at my kind of thinking about it and especially looking at my chiseling skills, I think I'm going to wait until I have uh, if I can get a square cut bit uh, that's big enough to fit a D6, then I think I'm until I get that, I'm going to be tabling that project because my idea is to do like basically an insert that you don't need a character sheet. You literally just slip it. It's basically cut out all the pieces, all the borders and everything for a character sheet. You just slip a piece of paper into it and you're done.
That'd be really cool. What I was working on is it would have a space for the modifier for each of your abilities, your proficiency bonus, your AC, your spell slots, inspiration, smites, just like a miscellaneous 4 slot at the bottom. The only problem is when I started doing HP, I was like, I don't think I can get away with this. I can't do a D6. You got to do a D10. So I haven't drilled those out yet, but I've kind of put that one on the back burner to get Christmas gifts made. But my idea for this other one is I'm going to hollow out 2 wells on one side and then hollow out the majority of it on the other. And that will be a dice vault that will hold 2 sets of polyhedrals and then have a small rolling surface or dice tray on the other. And I'm just playing around with that to see, because if that works, awesome. If it doesn't work, I'll do something else. It's I just got to get the woodworking stuff done that I need to get done first for gifts, and then I can start playing around with all the hardwood that I got in the shed for other projects. Because I desperately need to get back to actually making things.
I was asked to make a Christmas list, so I did. And I was promptly told you need something more frivolous on your list instead of tools that you're just going to work with.
Well, if I had the tools, then I can get the work done. And once the work's done, then I can use them to make stuff for play. They don't understand that. They don't understand the practicality of that.
Also, the fact that even though you're working, sometimes it's still play because of tool.
Yeah, I tried to explain to them that tools was my hobby, but as per my wife, that tools was my hobby, but they wasn't buying it. They didn't want to see those high price tags.
That's kind of on my end. Is that, well, my problem is that throughout the year, if I need to get something, I go ahead and just get it. And then I get in trouble because at Christmas time, I'm like, well, we don't need to get you. We don't know what to get you because you've already gotten the stuff. I'm like, yeah, I've already gotten the stuff. But I do know that inside.
That's why there's a brand new 32-foot extension ladder sitting outside that I picked up Friday.
I do know that inside one of the bags that's here in the house underneath the tree is a set of new 4.5 inch, or not 4.5 inch, but 7.5 inch circular saw blades, and then 2 10-inch blades because my table saw and my miter saw use 10-inch blades. So it's like, but this isn't a fun gift. Yeah, but it's a useful gift because I'm going to have to replace these saw blades soon. Sanding discs are always a welcome Christmas gift.
Oh yeah, if you want to, and if you want to make it fun and festive, just get me a variety pack. That way, I don't have to pick.
Pretty much. Also, though, Kyle, I didn't tell you this. Canon sent me a surprise birthday gift. I now have a DeWalt brushless 20-volt impact driver.
Ooh,
it is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Moose got a Milwaukee one for work, and that thing stays. And I kind of co-opted it. That thing stays in my tool bag.
We'll say this. I will say this. You don't realize how much you need an impact driver until
you have one.
No, until you don't have one after having one.
Yeah, that, especially coming from my background in cable, where they just hand you a power. They can't hand you a hammer, just one of the variable drills, a variable speed, 20 volt, and go do work. And then the first time you put your hands on an impact drill, and it's like, oh, this was so much easier than using the drill, and then especially if you got to change out bits with that quick lock system. Oh, makes things so much easier. And you don't rip and you don't rip the palm off of your hand and break 3 fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a thing.
And you don't break screws off because you over torqued them.
That
Very much so.
I've drove 2 boxes, 2 5-pound boxes of 3-inch screws in this shop, and I ain't broke not the first one.
yeah, the doing cable. Yeah, your drill stays on torque speed 1, and your drill speed stays on drill. So it is the highest torque, fastest spin possible. Yeah, there I have messed up some screws.
When I had to get that new little Ryobi one I got that runs on like the everything Ryobi battery packs, that's when I had some issues, and that's like, I like you, you're good. Impact driver is better.
Yeah. And so what I'll do is we don't have an impact, but we have like 3 cordless drill. We have a Bosch, we have an old blue Ryobi, and we have a green Ryobi. And I will, like, that Bosch is a workhorse. So I'll put my main, whatever I gotta, if I need 3 different things done with the drill, I'll set up all 3 drills and keep them separate. That way it's their individual tools instead of having to change things out, because that just makes my life so much easier.
Redundancy in several cases like that is actually amazing to have.
Yes. Yes, it is. And then the next kind of project that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to, like, the picture of the big war jack that I sent it. I have two of the same that also came in that kit, and it's one kit that has 3 different options for weapons, and essentially 3 different war jacks in one kit. You're supposed to pick one and put it together. But I'm gonna do some modifications and put magnets into it so that I can hot swap the weapons and arms in pieces. And that I'm gotta get really good with my little mini Dremel so that I can cut the holes for the magnets.
More power to you on that. Like, I got minis I need to paint. I really need to paint mine for Nace's upcoming campaign. I'm going to be playing a astral elf that is a genie warlock. Trying something weird.
Yeah. Weird is good.
On that little Dremel, Nox, if you can get that the flexible attachment that's like 30 inches long, where all you got is like a little pin thing in your hand, those things are worth it.
I have 2 Dremels. I have the 3900 series, which is the standard size, and I have the 1100 series. So the small one that I have is literally about 2.5 to 3 times as big as the little hammer. So it is a small one. Once I get my house back, I will be investing in one of those little one, the flexible bits like you're talking about, the tips, so that I can set it up and leave it set up and work on stuff if I have for when I want to, because once I get that room set up, I will have minis that I'll be doing. I will also have my 3D print. I will have the 2 3D printers set up in there as well. So I'll also be needing that for uh, potentially cutting and maybe doing some light sanding with them as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Though
Now that I got those.
I was gonna say I got an image I've made, and I gotta figure out how to save it as a PDF. From where I'm at, I think I know how to do it. But once I do that, I can print it in poster mode, and then I can transfer the image to a wooden sign that I've made for Emily for Christmas. And then I will be using my wood burning kit for the first time.
Ooh.
To burn in a welcome to our house, now roll initiative.
Nice.
Paste the image into Microsoft Word and convert it to PDF from a Word document.
That's what I was going to do. I made the image in Publisher, but I figured if I did it and I filled it to the size of the page.
Publisher will send it to a PDF with either the print function or the save function.
Huh. It wasn't letting me do that before.
Yeah, print to PDF is a lifesaver.
Because they'll allow. I just know I can do that and then measure the sign out to make sure it's out to the right size, and then I will be burning some wood. The sign has strips of cypress and spalded river oak.
Nice.
The original sign I made Emily, the epoxy never cured it. It cured enough to where I could not remove it, but it had the consistency of really, really thick Jello. It became like a non-Newtonian memory fluid.
That's interesting.
It's what I did is I was slightly off on the mixture on the tail end of mixing 2 different epoxies, and I did it at the wrong temperature as well. And it just didn't come out right, so I had to trash that entire sign, which made me sad because that was some of the prettiest slices from the oak.
Yeah, I don't think Misha's gonna allow me to get into any more bigger ticket hobbies until I start actually doing stuff with the ones that I got. Like I have been watching a lot of Warhammer 40,000 content lately. Because for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm painting a lot of minis. Warhammer is the biggest models game going. So I'm watching a lot of. So if you're looking for painting tutorials, you're gonna end up watching Warhammer stuff.
Goobertown Hobbies.
I've been watching, and then I fell into a rabbit hole of kit bashing, and been watching Pete the Wargamer, and watching him do fantastic stuff. Although watching him scrape and cut down models with an X-Acto knife and a scalpel makes me nervous because he cuts towards his fingers with a scalpel. But that's just me. And also
miniature chainmail gloves.
Yeah, that would be well. The thing about it is a lot of the pieces are so small you can't help but do it. We're talking like heads the size of a pea that you have to cut and that you have to kind of scrape clean after you make a cut on them, kind of thing.
See, my thing with that is I know there's so many people who make minis that are like complete and utter artistic pieces. Like they do everything. They fill the seams with like baking soda and super glue. They sand it down, to where you would swear it was like one solid cast from a very high quality mold. That's not me. I'm fine with sprues showing on most things. I,
Well, it's like what all
but
the like.
I mean, I'm just saying that's not my like the
Yeah,
people who do
no,
that. The people who do that, that's their bliss. And I'm like, dang, you're really good. I don't want to do that. I want to get this looking good enough, and then I want to paint it.
yeah, because paint's gonna cover most of that shit. Uh, the only thing that most of these guys will do is they'll actually once they cut the models off, they'll clip and just kind of take an X-Acto knife and just kind of scrape down the mold lines, just to make everything smooth, and that's pretty much it. Because I mean, most of that stuff is going to get covered in paint, covered by paint anyway. I mean, usually you can't even see it after you prime it. So, uh, but I also stumbled upon a channel called Play on Tabletop. They do 40K battle reports. It's basically just game. They show games, but they edit them down. They edit out a lot of the turn. They edit down a lot of the thinking and wondering and looking stuff up. So the only thing that ends up being shown is the actual action, um, and the rolls. And it is, and I personally believe, I've come to realize that I believe that Warhammer 40K, when edited properly, makes for an amazing spectator sport. Uh, to watch out, because the battles end up being just like D&D. The battles end up being very narrative, and the dice tell the stories of what happens in the fight and things of that nature. And I'll put that on for entertainment in the background while I'm painting minis or doing whatever. And I spent the morning watching Ninjon videos, who's another like painting guy, um, just to just to pick up new skills. Now, a lot of these guys are using airbrush, and I don't have access I don't have access to a proper airbrush. I have a shitty Tester's airbrush that uses the canned air, but it's a bottom feed, and you can't really use that for what I'm doing because I'm using such small quantities of paint that the airbrush won't actually pick it up because it's a bottom feed with a straw. And you really need a top gravity feed for it to work properly in order to do what you want to do with it. So that's something that I'm not what I enjoy, what I like having it. Yeah. Am I gonna get one? Yeah, probably at like 250, $300. Nah. Even $150. Nah, not really. I yes, I have approximately 37 models that I have left to paint, but I only have 37 models that I have to paint. I'm not painting constantly. My box of shame is finite, and while yes, I'm still going to buy more and have to paint more, it's not to the level of that necessitates an airbrush. I can sit and I don't need them next weekend. So speed and efficiency in getting it done isn't as high a priority as just getting them. As I have the luxury of being able to paint by attrition. I'll get them done when I get them done. I have a lot of the key figures that I need. I now have those 14 soldiers or 16 soldiers, for the bad guys that I can throw at my parties randomly. They are all faceless, and they all either have a sword and board, a great sword, or a crossbow. Done. I have assholes for my party to fight. I have particularly painted named assholes for them to fight. I got a handful of those. I don't need the rest of them next weekend. So I've got the time to be slow about getting everything paid.
Speaking of that game, have you had the other person with the courier's bag end up getting
Not
notes
yet.
yet?
Not yet. I am. We haven't had since that afternoon fell through. We haven't really had a chance to, because that afternoon fell through, and then the following weekend I went hunting, and then the following weekend, uh, we had other stuff like other plans ended up falling through, and then I went hunting again, and then it was last weekend, uh, and then that's this weekend. So I haven't had the time to sit down and get them and get with them to do that yet, because essentially it's going to be the next time we're all together is going to be a kind of game. Like nobody's going to need dice or anything else. It's going to be strictly role play, strictly narrative, and the the commander of this group, Crux, is going to split the party and send them off on different send them off to do and both parties are going to go off and do different things, and then we're going to be back to the old standard of two parties running congruently in the same world in different directions.
Cool.
Which will force me to build my world more, which is something that is going to help me flesh out my world a bit more. And it's also going to drop my party from 12 to 6.
That is very necessary.
Yeah, because 12 of them against 3 dudes took 2 hours.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I just know I want to play Sog again at some point. I fell in love with that character.
Yeah. So and it's going to happen. I just need to one weekend. Me and you just need to get on Discord, and you're just gonna have to kind of show me how to roll 20.
I will. It is the thing is that Roll20 is not new user friendly.
No.
And it is very much a program that is it's one of the things I like about it. It's one of those programs that even if someone tells you how everything works, you really have to just get in there and screw around with it.
Yeah. And I've tried and I've failed like twice in the past month. It ended up with like a green field with shitty walls and like 2 buildings. And after that 2.5 hours, I went, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
My advice, and it's what I do, is I have like the level above free on Roll20, and I just have a copious amount of pre-made maps because
I was thinking about it honestly, just because I'm lazy.
Well, it's not just that; it's also like
first...
there's 2-minute tabletop, which y'all have seen many of his maps playing through my games. I would say the Trove, but the Trove is no longer in existence. I think they finally struck it down.
Yeah. But for me, just on the lowest end of being lazy, in Roll20, you only have access as a wizard. You only have access to the God damn it, having a brain fart. I jumped for some reason. I jumped into Skyrim mode and wanted to say destruction magic. Evocation.
No, and you have access to about half the spells and half the information of the player's handbook for free on Roll20.
Negative. The only spell school that you have access to as a wizard in Roll20 for free is evocation.
Oh, like if you're creating a wizard using the character mancer,
which means you also don't get any. You don't have access to any of the subclass features for. Or I don't have access to the subclass features for transfiguration.
Okay, that's one of the annoying things is unless you buy the stuff, which I still haven't done on Roll20, means you have to manually put it in on a character sheet.
So, and I mean, I have, hang on, let me peek through my window, quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of the player's handbook. So I really don't feel like buying it again.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with that. Like when Jake mentions that people bought him all that stuff on Roll20, I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Now, I will say this: in 2.5 years or so, when 6th edition comes out, I am in fact highly considering, depending on what they do, is moving into D&D Beyond, or the said app of whatever D&D does it. D&D just eats D&D Beyond, and they go from being a licensed property to an actual WotC property. I may move into that, because that would probably just make my life a whole lot easier.
Good chance of that. My big thing is
at least for like character and classes and stuff like that, like source books and stuff like that, like campaign books and stuff like that. I'll still just fucking buy those.
Oh, my big thing is I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do for 6th edition. What's going to be the change?
From what I read for the announcement, 6th ed is essentially going to be 5.5, for at least in the beginning.
So it's just going to become advanced.
Kind of. They're going to essentially everything in 5th edition is going to essentially stay in play, unless it is directly replaced by a 6th ed book. So the first thing they're going to drop is going to be the core books: PHB, Monster Manual, DMG. Those 3 books are going to be replaced with the 6th edition books. You can still, from what I'm saying, or from what I'm seeing, you will still be able to use like Dragon Heist and Saltmarsh and Curse of Strahd, and you'll still be able to use the campaign books and the supplement books with it. With the supplement books, you'll just have to change anything that changes in the player's handbook takes precedent, and you have to change that for whatever. So I don't know.
I mean, are they going to try to bring back some of the crunch from the older systems, or are they going? Huh?
I do not know.
Because I mean, right now the thing about 5th edition is it's very, very approachable.
It is. That's also kind of its downside. Ultimately, it's a downside. While yes, for anyone to walk in and play D&D, I can sit down and have them on. You give me 3 people who have never played before, and Moose, and my brother Daryl, or Mish and Daryl. You give me a ringer, my wife, and 3 new people, and they will have a blast and be able to play and have absolutely no problems playing by the end of the session. For most people, that's awesome, but once you get to a point, everything still kind of blends together. The only real difference is the flavor of what you're playing. Melee, arcane, divine. Pick your path, go there. You ultimately can, whatever path that you pick, you ultimately end up doing the same thing. Any arcane you go down, whether it be sorcerer, warlock, or wizard, you end up doing all the same thing. The only difference is the gun is different. The bullets are the same. And when it's been around for hell almost 10 years at this point, I think. Yeah, when fifth edition's been around for around 10 years or so, there's a level of the veteran players having a certain level of crunchiness is a bit more desirable.
So you think they'll bring some of that back with some varied skills or something like that?
That's what I would, if they're going to do something like that, that's what I would hope. I would hope it would be go the fifth edition human route and go with variants. You have vanilla and quantum physics.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I've noticed is they really haven't brought psionics into fifth edition because I remember, and this
They
might
have but it is literally just a reskin of all other magic,
well,
because that's what the soul knife is. That's what uh it's the Tasha's brought in a lot. Tasha's has all the psionic stuff in.
well, what I'm saying is like it hasn't been as big. I remember in third edition, like once psionics got introduced, that was the thing, and like if you had a high
Because
powered
it was broken.
if you had a high powered psionic, you fucked everything up.
Yeah,
But
because it
but
because
and
it
when they really started heavily bringing them in the fourth, so like anytime I've seen psionics start really popping up, I'm like I feel like the end of that version of D&D is about to come.
yeah.
But the thing I would say is I really would hope sixth edition just functions like Dungeons and Dragons Advanced again. Like there is the regular everyday Dungeons and Dragons, and then here's this advanced playset rule that folks that want this can have. Like bring back the idea of prestige classes and going above level 20.
Yes. And I think that's a big thing. I think that's something that's really missing, because I mean you have a lot of those prestige classes are in Xanathars, and they're in Tasha's. The old 3-5 prestige classes are now just subclasses. Um, give me the arcane trickster, where you have to have 5 levels of rogue and three levels of wizard before you can take it.
Well, my thing
Give
is
me
that's why I kind of
give
would.
me advanced give me advanced multi-classic.
Like I feel like that might be something that's coming along, and I would kind of like to see that because I remember having to be a cavalier back in 3.5. It took something to actually pull off.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, like in the old in 3.5, I got the handbooks around here somewhere. Um, and that's what it took to be these classes. You had to have to be a Hierophant. You had to have X amount of levels in wizard, X amount of levels in cleric. You had to give me advanced multi-class options, where if I commit to these two classes for this many levels, I turn into something. I evolve into something else with a different skill set that's similar to both, but different.
See, that'd be interesting. But talking about that, working with Kyle, oiling boards and talking about different things, uh, along that type of line with, I don't feel when sixth edition comes out, it's going to be that much different than fifth, or it's not going to be super difficult. Because one, Wizards of the Coast owns Dungeons and Dragons, and beyond that, Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, which
Yeah,
means they're going to make a product that goes to the most people that they can make the most money off of. That's the corporation job one.
I'll do you one even better. It's gotten too big to change.
Well, that's
Too
some.
much.
Well, it's some of that. Sorry, what were you going to say, Cannon?
I think they're going to dumb it down so more people will get interested in it.
there's a good chance with that. But well, I was telling Kyle, because one of the big things I've noticed with him and a couple other folks I know at the game shop, they're kind of upset because they don't feel like they're the target market anymore. And when I've talked to folks about this, they go, no, you're not. Because they know they have you. Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast know they have you because you will eventually play this game if you are really in the tabletop RPGs. You will play it. They do not have to do much for you. They're going to try to attract as many new people in as they can by making the game as appealing for them. And if you don't like that, that's fine. Run your table like you want to run it. And this is just something I've been, for about the last year, been really adamant about. If you want to run your table a certain way, run your table that way. Don't get mad that another table doesn't run that way, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you, I mean, like, it's the reason I get kind of agitated at Ernie Gygax or the folks that wrote Dragonlance. Like, yeah, Ernie, your dad made D&D and then got pushed out of the company. That sucks. And then they sold to Wizards of the Coast. And now you, who were a very marginalized person back in the 70s and 80s, are no longer their target market, so you feel betrayed because now they definitely see that there's another there's another market out there of people who have been alienated, the next group, and they're really going to push for them to play because they will buy it so that they can get their pseudo therapy of RPG in.
And they're not gonna, and those people are not gonna bitch because it's because what they're playing is not what they used to play.
Yeah. So, I mean, my big thing with Ernie Gygax, dude, make the game you're about to make, and if it's going to turn out good, I might buy it. You know, make something good. Don't sit here and just bitch and whine and moan about what's happened that you can't do anything about. Make a stellar game and shove it down their damn throat. That's what you should do.
Kill them with success.
But that's not what he's going to do because that's not how he is or who he is. And it's, or some of the other folks that get upset about this and kind of gatekeep. I'm like, look,
and that ultimately, we're not the I don't understand. They're not pandering to us. We're not the target market anymore, dude. That's 100% fucking gatekeeping. That's the same people who I walk into a game shop with one of my best friends, and they all look at her like she doesn't fucking belong there because she's pretty.
I mean, that's the thing that just irks me. It's the thing that irks me is because I remember, like, yeah, I remember when D&D was the chic thing, the nerdy thing, this little, like, my special little secret kind of thing. And okay, cool, yeah, and you got to do your thing, and you got to be the big hero, you got to be Wolfgar, you got to be Drist, you got to do something like that, you got to be Conan, you know? You got to ride a dragon, and that was dope, and you felt awesome for those couple of hours that you played it. And I want other people to experience that. So if they make the game more accessible to more people, then it's going to continue being made. And I get more books that I can steal stuff from and take bits and pieces of, or get some more lore that all of a sudden I remember, oh shit, I remember this from back in 96 or 97 and they brought it back. This is cool.
But here's the thing though.
And well, the thing is, and I'm going to enjoy it, but here's the thing. If they bring something in I don't like, I don't have to use it. And exactly. I don't have to be an asshole to people who do. And that's the point to me. Like you run your table the way you want to run it. If I don't like the way you run your table, I'm going to go over here to somebody else's that I like and play that game because the whole point is I want to have fun. But you're having fun doing this and you're not hurting anybody. That's your business. You have fun. You play your game. You smash that dragon in the skull. This table.
Here's the thing with that it's that old school grognard mentality. Yes, what you said is 100% true, but it's only half of the power trip. The other half of the power trip is happening now. Before, back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, that's what it was. Now In this game, now I'm the cool guy. Now I'm the one with all. Now I'm the one with the power. The problem is that now it's becoming so popular that they're getting to be that they're getting that power trip in real life by by gatekeeping and by being those fucking those hipster fucking gamers of, oh, this is 5th edition is fucking stupid. Like I only play Pathfinder because Pathfinder's a real role playing game, or the people that take an absolute shit on 4th edition. Oh, 4th edition is just World of Warcraft. That's it. It wasn't even okay. So what you're saying is anything that is not super complex and that you have to be walked through for 4 sessions before you start to grasp the concept is not really gaming, because you print out a character sheet and it has literal cards that tell you these 4 things I can do anytime, these 5 things I can only do once per fight, and these 4 things I can only do once a day, because it is trimmed down to be easily understood on what I can do when and how to get more people into the game, because it's not your flavor. You get to be the asshole and chase people away, because that's what happened. That's the region that Magic has such a bad fucking reputation.
Same thing with Warhammer. Well, that and the people that don't get the that the Imperium of Man is actually terrible and want to
everything is terrible.
No, one of the thing is like all the people with the Imperium of Man and that like want to show up in that like very like fascist style of dress and like this is the way it is, the Emperor, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, you realize that they do all of that shit in satire, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's the Emperor of Mankind is literally the one fly still surviving on the turd of humanity. Like,
oh no, I have looked into the lore, Hewitt. You are wrong. The Emperor was not that guy. The Emperor almost died. They hooked him up to a life support system. He has been in a coma for 10,000. He's technically still alive. He's been in a coma for 10,000 years, and the cult-like religion grew up around him and took the fuck over. It's even worse than what you're saying, because the Emperor himself was like, no, I'm just the most brilliant motherfucker on the in the universe. I am the strongest motherfucker in the universe, and I know how to fix this. I know how to fix everything, so that's what we're gonna do. And then the Chaos Gods found out what he was planning on do, threw like 6 different monkey wrenches in it, and it worked. And what happened is once he went down, the power vacuum was filled by the church, who then went on to say he was God. He was our God Emperor, and that's where the entire Imperium of Man really took off after the Horus Heresy.
wow.
One of the original Primarchs has somehow been pushed forward in time and is around now. He basically looked around and went, what the this wasn't the message. But I can't say that this isn't the message because they'll fucking kill me. Because it's heresy.
Sounds about right for the grimdark of that. But I mean, the problem is I mean, and Emily and I've talked about this, and I guess this will be the last thing we talk about because we're going a little long here. Is there's so many things I love. Like, you give me another Star Wars in December. Like, you tell me that all of a sudden, like Wednesday, surprise, new episode of Star Wars, episode 10. Not Book of Fett. Like, I'm excited about that, but I'm saying like all of a sudden Disney out of nowhere has like episode 10. I'm gonna go see it because you gave me new Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've been through the Wookiee Life Day special. I will sit through some bullshit that is Star Wars. Like, I am slowly making my way through Clone Wars, which is not as bad as I thought it was when it first came out. But you give me a new Star Wars, I'm going to watch it. I don't care that it's not great. Like, the new trilogy wasn't great, but I had fun because it was Star Wars. You gave me freaking Space Samurai with laser swords and Mark Hamill being a snarky fuck.
Yeah.
And I was good. You gave me Space Mom until Space Mom died.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they didn't kill Chewie. Spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen them. They didn't kill Chewie. Thank God, or else I might have actually changed my opinion because you don't take my Wookiee. But I'll watch it. You give me more D&D books, I'm at least going to read them. I might not use them. I might think something stupid. And the glory is that I don't have to use it. You give me something new that I love, I have now been given more of this media I want to consume. And I'm going to enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, okay, well, fine. I just don't do it or I don't use it or that movie was a bust. Like, I'm just kind of tired in all these different nerd communities. And like Rick and Morty, I guess I'll use as just an example. I've never watched that show. I keep early on, I heard people tell me, "Oh, you'd love this, you'll love this," and then I saw the fans for that show.
Oh yeah,
And
it's great. They don't get it.
like the fandom,
They seriously.
the fandom popped up, and I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with any of you?" Same thing with like the weird thing, how toxic the My Little Pony fandom got. And I'm like, how the hell are you doing this with animated? What? Oh, and Emily's yelling Steven Universe from across the room. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many things. I'm like, just enjoy the thing you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, go do something else. It's like we were saying with steampunk for so long. If you like it, keep doing it. But the second it's not fun, stop. Don't ruin it. Just, if it's not your bag, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing that right now with certain things, especially like in D&D, and seeing people complain, like the people complaining about a new spell, and I'm like, then just don't use it and don't make a big deal about it. Like,
it's not hard, dude. What whatever Chris Perkins says on Twitter does not affect Avi one little bit.
no, I mean, it's when the thing about it is the second you get any book and you run any RPG, that is now your world and you have a manual.
Yep.
And just because the manufacturers say this is the lore of something, that doesn't mean it's the lore. Not for you. So just keep doing what you're going to do. Keep doing what you're going to do to have fun. Fuck it. It's meant to be enjoyable.
Yeah. It just play the fucking game, dude.
Like, using what's going to happen tomorrow night. I know what's about to happen with the penitent cell. Everybody in our group's fine with. But I know if I drop something like this in my random Tuesday night game, it wouldn't have been, so I don't do it because I know those players wouldn't want that, so that's not going to be something that pops up in that game. So I run my table differently for the people that are at my table because that's going to be fun for them. They're okay with this. And I'm not going to make a big deal about it because we're just going to get it done and we're going to have fun.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not hard, dude.
Sorry, that's just one of the things that's kind of been a flame about 3 foot high behind me.
Yeah. It's stupid, and I don't want thing to change, dude. Let me tell you something. If you thought second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was the bee's knees and the end all be all, I'll give you the fucking books. Go play it. Just because WotC drops a new source book doesn't mean it has to. You have to implement it at your table. I have Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I plan on purchasing Myth of Theros and the curriculum of Strixhaven. Why? Because playing a Magic the Gathering themed D&D game is appealing to me. Canon is not going to give two shits about my game because he don't know the source material. Now you give him dwarves and high fantasy, he's down and around. But you give him the source material for things that he has no clue about and has no idea what the functions of these different houses or these different guilds or how these gods are interact or what these Nyxborn things are, and he'll be lost like a goose. So Canon's not the target audience for that game. My boy Daryl is. My Moose and Claire are. Mish is. They understand the source material. I'm not gonna run a cyberpunk game for a bunch of steampunks. I'm gonna run a Deadlands game for a bunch of fucking steampunks.
Deadlands.
You know, it's not it. I'm not gonna run a game of Vampire the Masquerade for a Sunday school class, dude.
Okay, I would, because that would be funny. I'd also be seeing how quickly I could get kicked out of that church.
Oh, that too. But it's like I really, really, really would like to play in a Legend of the Five Rings 4th edition game. The new system. I've looked into it. It looks fantastic. There is legitimately, out of my entire play group, if you if you round up everybody that has the potential to play in one of my games, that number is close to 16. Out of that group of 16 people, after looking into Legend of the Five Rings 4th edition, I legitimately have myself, Daryl, and Kyle who could potentially sit through one of those games, because it is not a traditional role playing game. It is legitimately Far East court and protocol. Not showing emotion, decorum, political intrigue, backdealing, things of that nature. If you having an emotional outburst gives you penalties, and you fall in station, and you will be punished, and you'll be punished for it because you can't control your emotions. This game is amazing. I don't know 4 people total that I could play it with, simply because of how it is. Because everybody that I know plays D&D, plays Vampire, plays other games where it's that controlled chaos. This game is pure order.
That does seem
I'm not bringing that to my game group, because everyone will die. Like, the game will go nowheres.
Let's see. We're hitting about an hour and 20 minutes at this point. So,
No.
Does anybody have any recommendations for anything to watch or do?
Play on tabletop. They do it right. Warhammer 40K. They are currently, tomorrow, the final episode of their season 3 championships come out. The last 3 matches are on their YouTube right now. They have a backlog of 2 other seasons worth of worth of fights. It is highly entertaining to watch, and I enjoy the hell out of it. And if you like uh, watching people cut and scrape and make Warhammer miniatures into other Warhammer miniatures that they weren't supposed to look like, Pete the Wargamer. It's a great friggin' channel. He walks you through it step by step. Sometimes he even has, most of his stuff is just the building. Every now and then you'll get some painting, but it is fantastic.
I ran into the New Yankee Workshop on YouTube. They've got all the past episodes. I've been watching some of those.
Well, hell.
Nice. I have been watching either Kuga's Travels / I Will Always Travel for Food / Solo Travels Japan. Just those almost they're not quite ASMR. It's the I'm traveling around Japan and I'm going to put little text at the bottom of the screen to say where I'm going. And I love that because I'm realizing how much cleaner Japanese transit is than American transit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is not funny how much cleaner it is. Or the fact that there's certain things that they do, and I'm like, in America, that would already have been stolen. Excuse me. Spit down the wrong tube.
Yeah, don't do that. That's the air hole, Hewitt.
Yep. The other thing that I've been watching is oh god, I forgot the name of the channel now, but there's I found a couple other little woodworking channels that have been like quick, easy scrap wood projects. And one of my current projects for Christmas is to make trivets based off of a design that I saw, and it's always fun finding out. Just if you Google for 3 seconds, or not Google, but go to YouTube and type in like scrap wood projects, and then seeing what crazy nonsense people come up with.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Tomorrow we will have Holy Winds. Thursday we will have the Entity Killer Chronicles Hunt 2 Session 2. Next Sunday we will have Here We Go a Wrestling, the wrestling-based The Fight Before Christmas Eve game with several people. And I will have Nox and Moose helping me for some of the characters.
Yeah.
Provided y'all are free, because that game is going to be ridiculous and fun. Just because it can be. But that's all we have coming up right now. We will have several new games starting up in the New Year's. And Nox can be ready at some point for Spencer to send y'all a message, because he is going to interview every member of Team Bonus Action as an additional roundtable activity. Mine has already been done, and it will be posted up sometime in January.
Neat. Also, I looked at the video stuff that you sent out that you did for all the games and stuff, for like the trailers and stuff. You were getting like really, really good at that.
Thank you. I had to put the gameplay one that had Claire's yell from inside of the house.
Uh-huh.
It's too good not to use.
It really is. Like that. Like just as kind of a quick aside, I tried watching it. But once the game started, it would freeze and then it would move. Like every 5 minutes, it would just change scenes.
Yeah, it's my graphics card is not strong enough to run OBS and Phasmophobia.
However, listening to the 2 hunts that I listened to was fucking hilarious.
The phrase that I have been told that I will be remembered for is, how do I attach the camera to the tripod as the ghost is trying to kill us in the room we're in?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was it was entertaining as shit, and I couldn't watch it. I could only listen to it. So that has to happen more often. We have to fix this shit and get it and get this and get it done.
The solution is get Claire or Zeta to stream it, but that means Claire has to go in the house, which is probably not happening.
Yeah, that is in fact true.
But
So,
but anyway, if you'll do our sign off, Nox.
we appreciate y'all from coming and hanging out with us for a little bit. We just shoot shit for a while. Vise, as we say down here in South Louisiana. So until next time, folks, don't let your meatloaf